Hey everyone, David C. Anderson here, coming at you from the Knife Center. Let me ask you a question about S35VN steel. Is it just yesterday's super steel that's best left behind us? Or does it actually deserve a place on the knife that you'd carry every day? Let's look into it. In its heyday, S35VN was probably the single best stainless steel for the broadest range of knife applications out there. Sure, there would be stuff that would hold an edge longer, S90V, M390 come to mind, amongst many others of course, but S35VN had respectable edge holding and it was definitely tougher than those steels, and tougher than S30V, the steel that preceded it, which means it was less likely for the edge to chip, and you could use this stainless steel in scenarios where you might need more toughness, where you might need a knife that could handle rougher use. Now, unfortunately for S35VN, newer steels have come onto the market that have sort of relegated it to a second tier status in this particular cross-section of capabilities. S45VN, for example, within its own S family, was designed to increase the edge retention of S35 without losing the signature toughness that the steel was known for. And then, of course, not long thereafter, MagnaCut burst onto the scene with explosive fanfare, boasting not only better edge retention, but notably better toughness, and toughness achievable at much higher hardnesses than S35VN, in addition to being a great stainless option as well. So the answer to why bother with S35VN when these other steels are available? Well, right now you can get this still high performing steel at a much more attainable price than either S45VN or MagnaCut steel. I've got some seriously great knives here on the table in front of me that are attainably priced. Seriously, like 5 years ago, you wouldn't even be able to fathom getting this much performance for the dollar. We're talking everything on the table under $100 right now. So I'm going to start with a few KnifeCenter exclusives that were already priced really well, and we've actually marked these down so they're an even better deal. And the first is, in all honesty, one of my favorite knife designs, folding knife designs of the last several years, and that's the Badlands Vagabond from CIVIVI. I just love the design of this knife. It is elegantly made. It's got a sophisticated shape to it, a handle that is neutral enough to work with pretty much any hand size, and yet it has a nimble character to it. Nice, deeply hollow ground blade with a very, very thin edge. That's something CIVIVI does exceptionally well. And it all comes down to the feel in the hand. Yeah, your injection molded handles aren't going to feel as premium as something like G10, but the balance that they're able to achieve with this knife is just fantastic. It is ready to work, and you've got that great S35VN material here for just under $70 right now. 3¼ inch blade of it. Like I said, extremely sharp right out of the box. You've got a deep carry pocket clip to carry it on either side when closed, and then take your pick of opening methods. You've got ball bearings in the pivot, and those help either the thumb stud or the flipper tab, both I should say, work very well, nice and snappy and ready to go. Next up, we've got one of my favorite folding knife designs from several years ago. Not the last few, but something going back quite a while at this point, and something that was in my collection early on, not this version of it, but this is the Brad Zinker designed Boker Urban Trapper. This version right here with your almost 3.5 inch S35VN blade, $79, a few cents less than that. You've got a black coating, you've got blue anodized titanium liners and deep carry pocket clip right there, and these white resin handles that are designed to kind of mimic the look of ivory without having to deal with the hassles of it being, a animal-made material like that stuff right there. You've also got a liner lock right there as part of the titanium liner, ball bearings in the pivot here as well. And this is just a slimly elegant knife. Before something like the CRKT CEO came on the scene and kind of lent its name to this genre of knife, the executive knife, the narrow handle, the long, narrow blade, folding up almost completely into the handle. When closed, Brad Zinker has kind of been like the elder statesman of this genre even before it had its name, and this knife is really an example as to why. It is so, so good. Likewise, in that similar style, we've got a Lucas Burnley designed Boker, the Kwaiken Air series. The CEO had a little bit of Kwaiken influence in it in the first place, so it was cool to see them take the Kwaiken, which was so successful for Boker, and slim it up and make it even more competitive with the modern executive knife. We've got two versions right here. The 3.5-inch blade right here, coming in at just under $70, and this just over 3-inch version coming in at a cool $59.95. That's a $60 S35VN bladed flipper. Come on. Either one is going to be nice and elegant with these burgundy micarta handles and gold anodized titanium. Just a nice, classy look. Blade completely disappears into the handle when it's closed. All you've got is the flipper tab, of course. You could argue that's part of the blade, but I think you take my meaning. Nice flipping action with the ball bearings in that pivot as well. Nice and slender. The advantage of a slender blade like this is not only does it give it that look of elegance, it's going to be very nimble when going around curved cuts. Less blade to kind of get in its own way when you're navigating those corners. And just take your pick. Do you want a little more length and still have something nice and narrow and easy to carry in the pocket? Or do you go with the even skinnier, even slimmer, even easier to carry everyday companion right here? Next up, I've got one more kind of executive-ish type of knife before we move on to some different stuff. This one's a little bit out there though. This is the Kansept Prickle. I only say it's out there in terms of the executive styling. Here, check it out. Coming in at about $75 right now, 3.5-inch S35 blade, distinctive Tonto profile with a black stone washed finish. And for the handles, you've got G10 with a carbon fiber overlay on the top to give it a nice classy look. Let's fold it up, liner lock right there. Similar to that executive style, you've only got the deployment method protruding from the handle. The rest of the blade is completely hidden. Check out that cool milled titanium pocket clip on that side while we're at it, and a front flipper, and a pretty easy to use front flipper too. Nice, distinctive looking everyday carry folder right here. This next knife has a bit of kind of classic flair to it, or I would say vintage inspired design language, but rendered in a completely modern format. That's the CJRB Ria. KnifeCenter exclusive version here with your 3-inch S35 blade, just under $90 at the moment. Full flat grind, nice, useful drop point shape, marbled carbon fiber for the handles here with a liner lock and a milled pocket clip on the end right there. Now, my favorite thing about the Ria is the way it opens, and that has to do actually with the placement of the thumb stud. Now, it is a single-sided thumb stud, which unfortunately does preclude it from being a convenient left-hand opener, but that's so they could bury it in the handle outline just a little bit, and that way it's at just the right spot for maximum rotational velocity. You can load up the pressure before that detent breaks, and once it does, it just pops out so nicely. When these first were released, we here at the KnifeCenter actually thought, man, that almost feels assisted. It's so good and so springy and so tight every single time, but nope, it's just plain old good engineering on a plain old easy to carry, unassuming pocket knife that has a lot of cutting potential and edge retention baked right in. This next knife also has some of that kind of classic but updated feel going on, and that's the Cold Steel Lucky 2. This is a non-locking knife. It is actually a slip joint, and you've actually got two blades, two for the price of, well, two. They used to make a single bladed version that was a little bit less expensive, so you are paying more for the second blade. But still, $73.95 at this point in time with two blades. Each one of those blades is about 2.5 inches. You've got a plain edge version and a fully serrated version, and if you actually straightened out all of the serrations and measured the edge, you've got an absolute ton of long-lasting cutting edge on this very small, very convenient knife. The blades themselves, nice and thin. These things are super slicey, super precise feeling. Nicely finished too with the horizontal grain on the flats right here. And the carbon fiber, nice and light, feels classy, and you've even got a pocket clip. Most not classic slip joint pocket knives don't have a pocket clip, so they're gonna kind of bang around in your pocket. This is gonna stay right where you want it until you need it. Got another CIVIVI to take a look at, and it's also a non-locking knife. This is the Appalachian Drifter, a double detent style of non-locking knife. Priced right now with your 3-inch S35 blade at just about $70 on a special price at the moment. Even at the regular price of just about 83 bucks, it's still a pretty good bargain. Handles on this one, as you can see, are micarta. You've got a hidden lanyard attachment point here at the back and that pocket clip for convenience, deep carry in this case as well. And no traditional back spring like you would see on a classic slip joint. Remember I said this is a detent joint style of mechanism, which means I can flick it closed and flip it open as well. So it's quicker to use, quicker to open and close than a typical non-locking knife. You've got almost a full height hollow grind there, again in typical CIVIVI fashion, an extremely narrow, extremely thin, very sharp edge, very acute point on that knife as well. Very cool stuff. One more non-locking knife to take a look at, and this is actually a lockable non-locking knife. It's not a contradiction. This is the ArtisanCutlery small Archaeo non-locking knife, which is also a KnifeCenter exclusive, marked down with a 3-inch S35 blade to just under 100 bucks right now. Now this string here off the back with this metal post is the locking portion of it. I'll get to that in a minute, but what you've got here is another detent style, detent joint style non-locking knife, which means I can flick it closed. You've got a prominent flipper tab here for flipping it open. That doubles as some finger protection from sliding forward onto the edge. And if the blade does happen to come unlocked or start to close while you're using it, your index finger should keep it from moving too far. But if you want that extra peace of mind, you take that post here on the string. You don't have to carry it on the string. You could take this off. You could keep that in your wallet if you wish. When you need that extra peace of mind, just pop it into place right there. Snaps in. That blade isn't going anywhere, and you can even use the extra string as a bit of extra retention for holding onto it with your fingers. Check it out right now. These are discontinued, so they're marked down once they're gone. We're not going to be restocking these. You got marbled carbon fiber on this one, and I think we've still got a couple other handle variations available at this time as well, while supplies last, however. Now, if you like that approximate style of blade, but you do want something that actually actively locks when you open it, our first USA-made knife on the list today is going to be an option for you, this KnifeCenter exclusive version of the Kershaw Leek, priced at just under 90 bucks. 3-inch modified Wharncliffe blade, S35 steel, nice black stonewashed finish, or blackwashed finish, since Kershaw actually has the rights to that nomenclature. Blackwashed pocket clip as well. Comes with an orange anodized aluminum handle and a liner lock, and this is a SpeedSafe assisted opening knife. You do have thumb studs there. They're a little bit harder to use because they're a little bit on the smaller side, but the flipper tab itself, excellent. Now this is an assisted opening knife, which means the action is going to be consistent and repeatable every time. Every once in a while on a flippering knife, you can get a flipper to fail if you try hard enough, or if you try just right. If you don't push the flipper tab in the standard way, you might come halfway open. It's not easy to, it's easy to deploy it fully just about every time, but it can happen. Pretty much never gonna happen with an assisted opening knife. As soon as you launch that flipper tab out, the spring is gonna take over and finish the job quite nicely. If you're worried about accidental deployment, there is a slider switch here at the back that'll hold the blade in just in case, but if not, just go to town. You're ready to cut. The Leek has always been nice because it's just a great pocket knife from a modern standpoint. It doesn't feel like an old school knife, but it embodies a lot of those same ideals. It's slim, it cuts really efficiently, it's just ready to perform for light medium duty tasks. It's not a heavy duty user. Most folks don't actually need a heavy duty knife as much as I would like to think so. Similarly, got a new knife here from Ontario. It was released, I guess, a year or so ago. kind of fulfills a similar role, I guess. Not quite as efficient of a cutter and a little bit of a rougher handling knife. The TI-22. Coming in just under $100 right now. You've got a just over 3-inch S35VN blade with an actual titanium handle with a frame lock. Bit of a rarity at this price range. And it's just really nice. Like the Leek, you've got a 2-position tip up or tip down right side pocket clip. You've got a flipper tab, manual action here, however. This is not an assisted opener. Ball bearings in the pivot help keep the action nice and free flowing. The Tonto there, not as efficient of a cutter as the modified Wharncliffe on the Leek, but it is a really nice, really finely put together piece of kit right here. Nice bronze anodizing on the aluminum, or sorry, titanium. The black looks really great against it. Titanium frame lock flipper for less than $100. Very, very nice. We've got one more Ontario, kind of fulfilling, well, that just plain good old pocket knife role yet again. The Rat series, the Rat 1 or the Rat 2, available for less than $100. This is the Rat 2, coming in about $95. The S35VN version of the Rat 1 is about $97. There's only a $2 difference between them. Is that right? That's right. Not bad at all. So you got a 3-inch blade here or a 3.6-inch blade on the Rat 1 when they are available. They do kind of come in and out of stock periodically, and they tend to go pretty quickly because they're just excellent. They just work. And the Rat 2, long a stalwart of many an EDC enthusiast's pocket. Nice thin grind on a full flat drop point shape. Just works great. G10 for the handles, red with some texture to it, so less likely to slip than some of the injection molded, less expensive versions. You can still get a solid full gorilla grip on this small knife thanks to the amount of handle they give you. You can really manage that blade quite well. Now, the pivot construction here is washer-based as opposed to ball bearing, so a little less susceptible to dirt and grit. The worry is always, is it gonna flick open as nicely as a ball bearing knife? No problems. 4-position pocket clip too on these, so you can really carry it exactly where you want to. Now, another, affordable workhorse knife, I'd say, like the original Rat 2, coming in at around this 3-inch size, has been the QSP Penguin. So when we decided we wanted to make an exclusive version of the Penguin, we wanted to give it a steel that would still hit a really nice cross-section of price to performance, and these days, as I mentioned at the beginning, S35VN is really attractive. So check it out. Here's our version of the QSP Penguin coming in at $65 for your just over 3-inch S35 blade. This is the black stone-washed version. Comes with black and orange coral style G10, deep carry pocket clip pocketed inside the G10 handle itself. Nice little added touch, especially at the price point. Liner lock, washers in the pivot here as well. So you've got that kind of heavy duty style feel to it and a nice heavy duty style of blade to go with it with this sheep's foot profile. It's got some power to it that's backed up by the feel in the hand. You can really get all 4 fingers on it, at least I can, quite nicely, and push the blade really hard. Even the $30 to $40 D2 versions of this knife perform really well. The S35 is just icing on the cake. And we've also got the button lock version of these knives in. These are a little more expensive than the liner locks. It's about a $20 premium actually to jump up to the button lock versions. $85 for this version of our exclusive. This one shows the satin bladed finish, but it's the same profile as the original Penguin. You've just got a button lock and a flipper tab. That's the only real main difference versus the original. Actually, there is one other difference. The deep carry pocket clip is not pocketed inside the handle because you've actually got inset liners here instead of the full width liners of the original to make space for the mechanism and such. They do give you the filler plate here on the front so they can maintain the reversibility of that pocket clip. On the black version, it is blacked out, so that's even more subtle. And that's good because even though the button lock is right side facing, it's no problem to use it with the left hand either. And here we go. We've still got the thumb studs. You can use it exactly the same way and get exactly the same grip going on as the original, or you can use the flipper tab quite easily. Or just hold the button down and you can flick it, keeping your fingers out of the blade path as you close it. which is always a nice finger safe feature that we enjoy. Speaking of that, we got one more button lock today, and that is the Corgi Pup from Vosteed Knives, coming in at 89 bucks. This is a smaller knife, 2.37 inches on the S35VN blade. Great little drop point shape, however, and that almost full flat grind is going to be just an excellent little daily, almost a slightly upsized penknife blade for all intents and purposes. The handle here is purple G10. There's other versions available, including an Ultim version, which of course folks are going crazy over that material these days. And it's got enough to it where you can get a heftier grip than you might expect on this knife. It's not a shrimpy feeling handle at all. Let's compare it here actually to the Leek. You can see how much more thickness you've got going on with this Corgi Pup versus this classic slim pocket knife. Let's check out the button lock action here. It's placed right underneath the pivot. Looks pretty nice that way. And you can do that wrist flick for that finger safe action. You could use this backside of the squared off tang of the blade as conventional flipper tab, or you could front flipper it with the other side and you're ready to go. Last but not least, let's put a real bigger workhorse on here. We've got one that fits the bill. It's USA made. It's the Buck Pursuit Pro series. I say one, but you've got the large folder, you've got the small folder, and the small fixed blade with a blade actually about the same size as the large folder, all available between 90 and 100 bucks right now. This is the large Pursuit Pro, made in the US, coming in at just under 100 bucks. You got a 3 5/8 inch drop point blade with a recurve and hollow ground, and the handles are black and orange with some serious grip. There's rubberized sections, not super rubbery, but you definitely feel that rubber-like tack that's going to keep your grip in place no matter what hard work you're doing with the blade. The mid-mounted backlock maintains that kind of hard-working atmosphere, or hard-working attitude, personality, I should say, of the knife itself. It opens via a set of dual thumb studs. Perfectly ambidextrous knife here, thanks to the lock positioning and the dual thumb studs. Great hunter, great outdoor knife, great larger EDC knife, sans pocket clip. So for carrying, throw it in the pocket, or it does come with a nylon belt sheath. Take your pick. It's gonna work either way. Hope you liked what I had to show you right here. These are just some of the sub $100 S35VN knives out there. And honestly, if I upped the budget to just 110 bucks, there's even more options too. A lot of really great stuff. Check them out. We'll leave a link below to everything we have on the site that is S35VN under $100. Pick out one of these or pick out something else you like at that link. In the meantime, let me know what you thought of these picks down in the comments. As I said, follow the link to get your hands on one. And while you're over at theknifecenter.com, don't forget to check out our long-running Knife Rewards program, because the least thing we can do when you buy one of our knives today is give you some free money to spend on the next one. I'm David C. Anderson from the Knife Center. That's all for now, so I'm signing off. See you next time.